All right, we are live. Good morning, Sid. Thanks for
Good
joining me.
good morning, Shannon. Yes, ma'am. It is another day, another live.
Yes, I do appreciate you doing with this with me. I do.
Oh yeah. I enjoyed it. It's
I'm
fun and it gives me something and you something to do every month and look forward to it. So
I'm
even through the difficulties.
that's right. I'm trying to think though, like did we start in February? Was that when we started?
January.
January. Okay.
So the beginning of the year. So we've been doing this for 7 months now.
It seems kind of crazy.
I know. Good morning, Racine. Yeah, it is. It's crazy how fast this year has gone by. It really is.
It really is. I know to think it's going to be like winter time and everything like that
Yeah,
soon.
yeah. That's me and my husband. We were talking about how 4th of July just passed, and now next thing you know, it's going to be Thanksgiving because these
Yes.
next few months are going to go by like that.
Mhm.
So crazy.
Racine, will you remind me where you're at? Like, you don't have to be specific. I don't want like you to have to say any personal information. But what part of the country are you from? Or are you one of our Canadian friends? I can't remember. Sorry. I need more coffee, but it was way too hot to bring any up here.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can't. I've the first few times when we were doing this live, I was drinking coffee to kind of get the gears rolling, and then I realized that just heightens my anxiety. So I'm like, no
Yes.
caffeine before live, none.
That is a very, very valid point.
Yeah, yeah. Good morning, Heather. She is from St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay, and Racine says Dallas. So, yeah, both of you are probably also feeling the heat like I am.
Mm,
So,
yeah, yeah. That's I think this whole month it has been close to 100, if not in the hundreds.
Ew.
Yeah, and the heat index has been like dangerous all the way up from like 110 to 117. It has
Ugh.
been miserable here.
We
Miserable.
have not had it that bad, thankfully.
Hmm. Yeah, you're more up north.
Yeah, we have
So,
a lot of problems with humidity. And we've actually surprisingly had quite a bit of flooding in our area. Like we don't have a lot of rivers, but it's been like flash flooding because we've just gotten so much rain. So that's been an issue, but not me personally, but just in
yeah,
our area.
shoot. I think last week, I don't know if it's changed. We've got a little bit more rain this week, but unless it's changed, we are in a severe drought. Like
Ah,
it's to the point where almost all of our rivers, at least in my area, is almost washed up.
oh,
Yeah,
no,
it's
not here.
between the heat, the swamps, the cypress trees soak up everything, and yeah, we need we need rain
We would send
bad,
it.
bad.
Okay, we got North Carolina in the house with
Ooh,
Bobby.
my neighbor.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I am in South Carolina, Racine. Good old South Carolina.
So you just finished up Battle of the Stitches.
Mhm.
So do you want to just kind of give a brief overview, kind of like your experience with that? And I just watched your tutorial. I didn't comment on it because I was like, oh, I'll just talk to her. I should have commented, but
So, yeah, it's actually a collaboration that Heather from Strings and Threads and Teresa from Critters Crochet have been doing for a few months now. Well, they've started asking people or other content creators to kind of enjoy or jump on the collaboration with them. And so Heather emailed me, I think it was like at the end of May sometime, and told me what exactly they were doing, what happens, and all of that. And so I was like, absolutely, I love designing. I love challenging myself. So, what exactly it is, we get together. They're going by a book. I can't remember. It's like 200 crochet stitches by, I can't even remember what the lady's name is, but it starts with a T. And they're going through the book stitch by stitch. For each month, it's going to be a different stitch. You do the tutorial on it, you create your own design, you give a little bit of sneak peek of what you're designing, but nobody knows other than yourself what you're designing, and then you release a tutorial on that. And then viewers get to vote which project they deem the best out of the three, or how many content creators are joining in that month. And then whoever wins, their project was deemed the best, then that is what's given away on Teresa's live on July 31st, which is usually the last Wednesday of the month.
Okay, okay. I mean, it seems like a really neat, like, project, and if you are, newer to crochet, or maybe if you're not newer and you just are tired of doing the same old thing, like, it seems like a good way to maybe just follow along even if you're not one of the guest contributors, like,
Mhm.
just following along and, just learning something different and
Oh, absolutely. Like, too, they've made it open. If you're not a content creator and you want to jump in, then I mean, do it. I mean, there's no issues with that. Send pictures. I think Teresa, I don't know about Teresa, but I think Heather, she has a Facebook group.
Mhm.
I've got Facebook, I got Instagram, so an email, of course. So, I mean, if anybody wants to jump in on that, then I mean, contact Heather and Teresa, and they'll give you a little bit more information. I'm a guest this month, so they're the host. I'm the guest, but
I now, I had thought, I had seen I hadn't seen a lot of these come up, but I think Ella from No Catchy Name might have been the guest contributor before you maybe, or maybe there was somebody in between there, but
yeah, they just started asking other content creators last month to jump in. But
okay.
yeah, Ella, is that her name? She was
Yes.
last month's guest, and then this month's. I don't know who is next month, so they'll kind of give that away on Teresa's live. So I'm excited to see who is the guest for August, but they've also said that it doesn't have to just be one, content creator that wants to jump on it. Multiple people can be the guest if they want. So,
Oh, and that is that yeah, that's neat too.
mhm.
But if there's also like 100 stitches, like, that'll keep going for a while.
Oh yeah, that's their which I think shoot, I just had a brain fog. Aaron from Crafting Kitty,
Oh, yeah.
their things we're making Thursday. They've been doing that for at
Oh,
least,
yeah.
this is the second year that they're doing it. So yeah, I mean, they're both awesome collaborations, and I mean, you don't have to do it every month if you don't want to. So,
Yeah, it's nice to have that option of just being able to pop in if you want or not.
right, right. Yeah, I did the things we're making Thursday. I did one last year, which was the
Oh, the
giraffe that,
giraffe,
yeah,
right?
that you were, yep, that you were asking me about. I've been wanting to jump. They've changed it up this year, but I've been wanting to jump on it. But I just have so much going on right now,
Yeah.
especially with the Etsy shop that I just started, and then just started putting myself out there and selling my hand spun yarn. So
So
there's a lot
I
going
think if I did it correctly, I think I do have a link for your Etsy down in the description box of this.
on. Okay.
So you have some of your fiber that you have hand dyed in there. Is
Mhm.
that something where at a certain point you are going to have hand spun yarn in there, or are you keeping that separate, or what are you thinking there?
I
Or is it
think
all up in the air?
I want to put in hand spun yarn at some point. I think right now it's just maybe not for me,
Mhm.
because it can be a little expensive to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm right now my handspun yarn. I'm just kind of keeping it off the books. So,
Okay. That's the
like I, said, I'm willing to, spin yarn for anybody that asks. Or, I mean, if you watch my videos and you find, yarn that I've spun up, most of the time I'm not doing anything with them. So unless somebody's grabbed it, then it's open. So good morning,
so
Mama Winch. Sorry, I enjoy Mama Winch.
good, 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 good.
She's actually the first one that bought off my Etsy shop. So
Oh, nice,
yeah,
nice. So
yes.
she must spin then.
Mm-mm. She actually contacted me and asked if I would spin it for her because
Oh, okay.
she's wanting to get into spinning, but she's kind of looked at the process, and
Yep.
right now it's kind of she's got her own things going on.
No,
So
I 100% get that. Like, I love the idea of it, but I'm like, I don't know if I can add one more hobby to my plate.
yeah. It can be kind of time consuming at points, but it's
But then
something.
sometimes you see roving and you're like, "Oh my gosh."
Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, it's something that I enjoy, and it really calms me down, and I know it does for a lot of people. So
Good, good.
you, especially for me, you learn a lot more about yarn and the
Mhm.
processing, and you kind of appreciate it a little bit more. So
Well, I think that's probably the biggest key when because I love a bargain and I love getting yarn for cheap, but I
uh-huh.
can also totally appreciate the difference between like when I say I want to get yarn for cheap, it's when I want to get it from like Joanne for dirt
Yeah,
cheap, where it's acrylic,
factory.
yeah, factory. It doesn't have the same aspects that go into it. And I think that sometimes, like, if you go into an LYS or something, it could be a little bit of a sticker shock,
Hmm.
and some of those there's an LYS about an hour from me, and I did go in it, and I was a little disappointed, and not at the prices because I was expecting a higher price point, but
Hmm.
they just didn't have much of a selection, and then the couple yarns where I was like, "Ooh," they only had, like, 1 hank of it, and so I was like,
Yeah,
and I couldn't figure out, like, they had a bunch of variegateds, but they didn't have solids to mix with it, and so I was like, "What am I gonna do with this one random, hank?"
yeah.
So I'm getting way off track, but my point of that was that, those were, I think, more, even though they were nicer yarns, they were more factory yarns,
Mhm.
but I can definitely appreciate everything that goes into and honestly, probably people probably aren't even really in realistically charging enough if you're looking at the time that went into, like, hand dyeing, hand spinning, or hand carding, hand
Mhm.
spinning, all of that. It should probably be like $100 or something, so
Yeah, yeah, you gotta kind of find that medium of, and I'm a person that I hate asking for money. I hate asking for help. I hate asking for anything. And so I will kind of sell myself short
yeah.
just to please somebody else. Uh, so,
I get
yeah,
it, I get it.
I think I've lost connection with my chat on my
Uh-oh.
computer. It says that it's reconnected. So
Okay, good, 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 good.
I just hope everybody can hear me okay.
Yep, totally can hear you, totally can see you.
I'm reading the chat off of the
You
thank you
trying to go
music.
back and forth between your phone and your laptop?
Yeah.
Well,
um,
I made sure to disconnect my Bluetooth on my laptop because I don't know if you remember, like, the very first time I went through StreamYard, I
uh-huh.
lost my audio, and my husband was downstairs and he was trying to be helpful. And he was like, "Oh, I don't want to make any extra noise when I'm listening to music. I'll throw on her Bluetooth headphones." And instead, he heard our voices instead of
Uh,
his music, and
yep,
no one could hear us.
yep.
So
Yeah, you
lesson learned. I always disconnect Bluetooth now before starting
right,
a live stream.
right. Yeah, you told me that, and I was like cracking up because I was like, "Yeah, that's what he gets for trying to eavesdrop, or it's still
I know.
your earbuds."
And then it was like he was said he was, like, trying to get out, like, and when you're trying to hurry and, like,
Yeah.
correct the problem, it just makes it worse.
I was gonna have you tell him sorry for he had to hear my voice, but
I think he did hear you, and then but he was like, "Oh, no, this is yarn."
leave me out of this. I
Yeah,
already, you know,
he does. He is subjected to far too much yarn talk as is, so
yeah. If he can get away from it, he can get away from it.
yes.
My husband's the same way. So, uh, that's like last night. Oh, he hated me so much, and I could tell the dread in his face because I came in here. My mom gave me one of her very first blankets that she did, but
Okay.
she like completely messed up on it. And so she was like, "Here, take it, do whatever you want to do with it. I don't care," pretty much. And I was like, "Okay, well, I really liked the yarn because I think it actually came from Hobby Lobby, and it was the Urban Chick yarn."
Oh, yes, yes, that is
Yeah,
good yarn.
yeah. And so I was like, and it was the one that has like the maroon
Yes.
and the white, the blue, and all that. And I was
Yep.
like, I really like this color yarn. So sorry,
Mhm.
mom, but I'm sitting here ripping it
You
out. So
frogged it
mine.
all.
So I had him at first. I had done it like halfway, ripped the blanket out halfway, and I was like, I want to have him come in here and help me so that I'm not having to frog and then whine, frog and whine. So I was in the craft room last night. I said, "Hey," I said his name because I don't call him Hun or anything. And so I said, "Come here." He's like, "Oh, what do you want?" And I'm like, "I need your help." And he's just like, "What am I getting myself into?" So he didn't complain about it. He went forward with it. But yeah, we spent 2 hours in the craft yarn on
Oh, no.
frogging that blanket. Yeah.
Do you like, what stitch had she used in it? Like, was it frogging easy or was it hard?
I have no clue, but it was like a some corner to corner blanket. It wasn't
Okay,
corner to corner, but it was something like that.
okay.
And where she had already washed it a few times, it was
Oh,
starting to kind of fray together. So yeah,
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 yeah.
he he definitely hated me last night. But hey,
It is
that's
what it
what husbands
is.
are for. Yeah, that's what husbands are for.
It's kinda disappointing that yarn got discontinued, I think,
I know. I
because
know.
it was, like, kinda squishy and, like, a spongy texture, like
Mhm,
yeah, like, I like very squishable yarn,
mhm.
so
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but it's definitely getting caked up and being saved. So,
I had gotten, a, uh I had bought in the mystery box from another YouTuber, like, a year and a half ago,
hmm
and, it was somebody who was leaving YouTube,
mm,
and, so I mean, I knew the yarn would be good, and I just kinda wanted to help out a little bit, and they were really cheap, and I was like so I had gotten 1 skein of that yarn,
hmm
and so I was like and it was the one you're talking about, I think it was the berry colored one with maroon and everything, and I
yeah,
was like, "What do I do?" So I made a sleeve to put my laptop in, but it has since just turned into the perfect size for my cat to, like, hunch down on,
yeah,
so now it's like a cat mat,
uh
and my laptop never goes in it, so
huh. Well, she said you're not using it, so I'm gonna use it.
exactly.
Yep, yep, yeah. That yarn, I just, those are the kind of colors that I gravitate towards, anyways. So,
Mhm.
like, this ain't gonna waste.
Yeah, I had done they also had, like, a lavender one, and they had, like, a light pink one, and then they had, like, a green and gray one. I had made a pretty big triangle scarf out
Mhm.
of the pink and gray one, and then I ended up giving my friend the lavender because at that point I was like, because and I had already used the green. I'm like, okay, I've gone through like 3 colorways of this already, and I was running out of ideas. So my friend was very excited about it, but
Yeah, I think I still have one scheme that's the teal turquoise, and it's got like
Mhm.
orange in it. I still have one up there, but I have no clue what I'm going to do with it. No
Well, and
clue.
that's the thing, it's hard when you just have, like, 1 left. It's like, well,
Yeah, and I think it's only like 200 and some yards. I don't even
yeah,
know how many yards it is, but
it's not a
it's
lot.
yeah enough to either make like a cowl or scarf or
Yep.
a hat, something small.
Well, and I get kinda weird about discontinued yarns too. Like, I then I s like, I don't feel like I'm a yarn hoarder, but if I know something is unavailable, I'm like, "Ooh, I want this to be the right project."
Mhm. Yeah, you gotta kind of already have a project in mind for it, or
Mhm.
yeah. It's I like the Hobby Lobby clearance sales, but when it comes to that, they're also kind of it's bittersweet.
Yep, that is the downside for sure.
Now my chat isn't wanting to pop up.
Hmm.
As long as they can hear me okay,
Yep.
see me okay, then I guess you're just gonna have to leave the chat. So, hello to anybody who is popping in. I can't see you right now, so I do apologize.
Hey, look, I added a banner.
Ooh,
Uh,
fancy.
so yeah, this is definitely kind of new. I'm trying to get the hang of everything. Um, I don't know if you saw, I figured out how to add a trailer to the thumbnail, so
Yeah.
I was pretty excited about that.
Hmm.
I sometimes technology makes me feel old. It just takes me a like I enjoy learning it, but sometimes it takes me a little longer to like figure out what I'm doing.
Right. Oddballs.
Hmm?
Now it's popping up. And I just seen
Okay.
Oddballs was the very first name that I seen. I love seeing like just crazy off the wall names that people come up with.
Yes.
It kind of, is one of those moments that kind of in, hey, that person's got some humor.
I know. That's why, like, I have no idea. I've never met this person, but I love the YouTube channel name Yarn Barf. I'm like,
Yeah.
that is funny.
Uh, what's her name? I think her name's Christine or something like that. So yeah, if
Yeah, I've
it's
never
if
ever met her, but
yeah, her is it because I think there's actually two. There's Yarn Barf that her name is completely capitalized, and then
okay.
I think there's another one that's like Yarn Barf underscore cat or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two of them, but yeah, if it's the one that is completely capitalized, I think her name is Christy. So
Okay.
yep. Mama Winch asked, "Have you seen Fuzzy Butt Crochet?"
I
I
have not.
do not. I don't think so. Good morning, Kim. And there's just so many, YouTubers out there, especially in like the crocheting community or the yarn community. It is so hard to keep up with them.
It
And
is.
names, and if their name isn't presented in their um,
Like in the channel
yeah,
name. Yeah.
then it's so hard to. What's your
It
name
is
again?
sometimes hard to
Yeah.
figure out. Yeah.
I know. I don't know if you've heard of her, but Crystal, the yarny, crazy chicken and cat lady.
Yep.
Yeah, she. I think she actually writes down everybody's. She'll ask, "Hey, what's your name?" and then she'll write everybody's name down.
That's
So she
smart.
uses it as a cheat sheet.
That is smart.
Good morning, Leah. Is that how you spell it or say your name? She is from Finland. She
Ooh,
is crocheting a
cool.
sweater. Now, Mama Winch, I seen your comment earlier that you are hoping that you get the crochet or the spinning starter set from somebody. Well, I hope you win that because I know you've been wanting to learn how to spin for quite a while.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like, um, eh, I'm tempted to buy a drop spindle,
Mm-hmm.
but I also know you said that there's a lot more room for human error, and it can be a lot harder to learn that way. But I'm like, the price point is a little
Yeah,
more like if I abandon this hobby, I'm okay losing $20 compared to 200.
right.
It's like,
And
what do I do?
that's why a lot of, fiber artists do recommend the drop spindles is because if you feel like you're not getting it or if you don't like it or whatever the issue is, then you're not out a lot of money. But for me personally, I think if you can, if you're willing to push forward, I just feel like you're going to get a better effect off of using a electric spinner.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which I mean, go ahead.
well, I say I just can see where there would be a lot less room for user error, when you're not so much working with just it just seems like, yeah, it would be easier.
Yeah. Um, which I mean, this is one of the nanos. This is I think one of the original ones from Dreaming
Okay.
Robots. But he has a few upgraded ones, and I think he's about to release another upgraded Nano 2 or something like that. 2.1, I can't remember. He's constantly upgrading his nanos. But I think this one or like the Nano 2.0 is only maybe $150. So it's really
Okay.
not that bad. And then I know if you don't like it and you're trying to get rid of it, put it on Facebook market or not Facebook Market, but Facebook group, and I mean they go
It'll be
nuts.
gone right away.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
go nuts over them.
that's a good point. That really is.
That's how I ended up with this one. A lady was selling. I can't remember the exact full story, but I think somebody was actually selling several of them at her local library. So
Okay.
she grabbed them all and then she sold them on Facebook. So that's how I
Okay.
ended up grabbing this one. So,
Sorry, I'm just up here in the little section for a second. Would you mind carrying things for a minute,
yeah.
Sydney?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
thanks.
Jaden, or yeah, Jaden says she is listening and working on a project. What project are you working on, if you don't mind sharing? Oddballs, he, she, if you would let us know what your name is so that we can gather a little bit more information. Saturday mornings are one of the few times she can actually catch live, so she loves these. We love them too, and we just love interacting with you guys and getting to know what you guys are working on and knowing you guys as a person as well. And Kim is listening and playing Fortnite. Let's see. So Jaden is working on a scarf for their partner. Awesome. What kind of scarf are you working on? Are you working on your own design or what pattern are you working on? Kim, I keep a YouTube channel named Page 2. I am Kim, by the way. VJ, I love VJ. He is He's so sweet and, makes those heartwarming comments and makes things a lot, easier, and just a person that really, appreciates. Um,
Mhm.
he said, "Your chats are just the best. Thank you, ladies." Well, thank you for being a supporter, just not to
Yep.
me, but to Shannon and whoever else. So,
Yeah, and I'm assuming it's probably late night for him right
yeah,
now.
he's in South Africa.
Yeah, so that's the thing. We definitely acknowledge and appreciate, especially if this isn't an easy time for you guys. Because
Yeah,
for us, this is like prime time in the morning.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's 11 a.m. Well, 11:30.
I'm gonna have to shut my window. I've got a crop dusting airplane outside. I don't know if you can hear. I will be right
Uh-uh.
back.
Okay. So Sonia is working on some small ornaments for Christmas in July craft sale Wednesday. Awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. My chat keeps on jumping. What did Kim say? Kim says it's a hard keeping up with all the channels and the host names, and I am one of those older moms who roll call
Roll
if
call
I don't.
people.
Yeah. Yep, I completely understand that. Um, Jaden is new to learning and knitting, so I'm just going along and writing down what I do. My crochet is a work in progress. Well, I mean, at least you're trying. That's all
Yeah.
you can do. So it ain't gotta be pretty, but at least you're trying.
Well, and that's the thing. That's how we all learn and
Hmm. That's when I first started learning how to knit. For a year, I didn't even know I was twisting my stitches until a few people on YouTube were like, "Hey, you're twisting your stitches." And I was like, "Well, thanks. I wish somebody would have told me sooner, but thank you for telling me now so I can correct it." Yeah, but I
Okay,
mean,
so this time slot does work good for Europe. Good, good.
who said
And
that?
I that's the thing, VJ, I know, like, if anybody follows Litsa on Coco's Crochet,
Hmm.
she's in Australia, so, yeah, it is a winter for her too, and so, yeah, that's tough being on the opposite hemispheres, and
Yeah.
then, yeah, like, if you love summer projects and everybody's doing winter or vice versa.
Yeah, you gotta kind of like if you design or whatever, you gotta if you're, big audiences in other
Yeah.
countries, you've got to kind of do everything, mix it up so that way people in America can get their summer, people in Europe,
Mhm.
you know, whatever season they're going through, and then yeah, so
Can you guys hear that plane? Is that annoying and distracting? If you can, I'm sorry.
I don't hear it.
Okay. They are like so I have, cornfields around me, and so they are like dive it's like smaller airplanes, and they, like, dive bomb the field, and it's kinda gross. They, like, spray pesticides on it.
Yeah,
So I don't it's just how it is, so
farming.
yeah, yeah.
I get it.
Okay,
So
good.
oddball.
Thank you,
Does
guys.
anyone here have any experience with flatbed knitting machine? Is that one of those ones that like you put on the table and it's got the teeth and that you can run it back and forth?
Oh, I bet it
I think
is.
I've never personally dealt with one, but if it's what I'm thinking you're talking about, my mother-in-law used to have one, which I think those are you don't see them anymore. They're from like the 70s, I think.
Yeah. I think I
Or
had seen a video where, it's I think if I say her name right, I think it's Rachel Maxey. So she's not a crochet or a yarn person. She makes like, um, whimsical, like cosplay type of outfits. So she'll have like a lot of vintage inspired, and sometimes she's like, I don't know, dressed as like Indiana Jones or a Hobbit or a Victorian child.
mhm.
So it's like entertainment videos, but it's like a lot of clothing. And I swear I'd seen a video where she found one of those, like, in the basement of the home she bought, like, it was just down there, and, started making something about that.
Hmm.
Yeah, because yeah,
So,
I don't know how available they are anymore.
well, Eyeball said that they still make them. I have not.
Oh.
I know the one that my mother-in-law got. She actually got from I think one of her friends. They host like a crap, I can't even think of it right now. Um, like a yard sale,
Oh, yeah.
but in the church, and
Oh, yeah.
her dad or somebody actually may have passed away that she knew, and it was gifted to her. I think that's how she got it. But that one was it was an older one. But like I said, I've seen her work with it, but I've never personally used one.
I think sometimes, like, I've seen bigger YouTube channels be like, "Oh, I got this, I'm gonna throw this on the knitting machine and see how it works up." And then I was watching one of your videos and you're like, "The knitting machine actually requires skill. You have to know what you're doing, and sometimes it drops stitches and you have to like
Yeah,
it's not magic." And I
yeah.
think it is easy sometimes maybe for us if we're watching a lot of videos and channels edit those parts out of the video and you just see them make a scarf or whatever in minutes and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I should get one of those."
That's the stinking the one that I have. The stinking, I think his is it the Centro?
Mhm.
I haven't used it in like several months because it's just you've got to find the right type of yarn that it will gradually go through it. And if you drop a stitch, then it's like it's just a pain to try to get it back to where it needs to be. And then just they can be so aggravating, and you've got to really take care of them because especially those centros where they're so on the cheaper end, they're more of a toy and they go out just like that. So
Mhm.
unless like I've never used an Addy, but they are more up in price, like
Oh,
hugely
yeah.
up in price. But I think people have had a lot better luck with the Addy machines.
Yeah, editing does make things look so easy. It's like watching a
Yeah.
cooking video where they're, like, just sprinkling everything in there and then a couple little swishes and, oh, it looks magically. No.
Yep. Yeah, and then you have like those people that just naturally know what they're doing and how to portray things in a certain way. It's like, yeah, let's see how hard that actually was. That's recently I've been wanting to take up leather work
Ooh,
because
yeah.
it looks, some people that you watch on YouTube, it just looks like a breeze. Well,
Mhm.
I ended up actually getting a leatherwork kit that's for beginners off of Amazon. Let me tell you, it's not so easy. It is not so easy. So, yeah, my work looked like a third grader had done it.
Yeah, I follow some different Instagram accounts where they post reels of, like, just them tooling the leather, and I'm
Mhm,
like, "Oh my god, it's so gorgeous," and I love tooled leather. I mean, it's like one of my favorite things of all time,
mhm.
and then, they're just pounding things out, and it looks amazing, and I love watching it, but yes, mine would probably look even worse, like a kindergartner or preschooler did it.
Yeah, when you're using them stamping tools, you've got to like
Mhm.
really be precise and have a steady hand. And like if you're shading or whatever, you've got to like really know you got to get it right. So it's like, I got some work to do. Took 8 hours to get the machine, and I two work together.
Yeah, I think it definitely maybe that's the thing, look for a deal on the Addy, wait till find out, if there's a certain time of year that they have a really good markdown or something, and
Yeah, because them Addy machines, I've looked into them and they're $150 to $200.
Yeah.
You're right, Kim. She said, but that is how we get better by our errors and moving forward. I'm
Yes.
sure it's not bad. We tend to be our worst. Yeah.
That's
I
100% true. Yes.
Yes. I know I definitely it's like anything that I pick up new, I feel like I've got to know it everything about whatever it is right then.
Yes.
I feel like I got to be a natural pro at it, but
Yep.
I've got to remind myself, hey, you're just learning it. Slow down. It's
Mhm.
okay. It's
One of
okay.
the one of the things that I have been a lot more okay with is, leaving mistakes in my work,
Hmm.
and, partially because, number 1, I only know a couple people in my day-to-day life that actually crochet, and they're very nice people who would never criticize me or make fun of me, you know? And, the general public is not gonna know if you mess up a stitch, like, and so to have to, like, frog back a bunch of rows or something like that, it's like I to fix, like, 1 or 2 stitches, I'm okay kinda leaving it and
Hmm.
just being okay with the imperfection and everything. Now, it would be different if it was like, if someone was paying me to make it or something like that, like, this is just my work, but yeah, everything doesn't have to be perfect.
No, nope, not at all. I do it all the time. I'm lazy, so I don't feel like going back and ripping 10 rows out. I'm just like
I
whatever.
did just have to rip out 12 rows of a shawl I'm making, and it was a lot,
Hmm.
but it was a pattern from Expression Fiber Arts, and it's kinda like a crescent type of shawl,
Hmm.
and for some reason, when I was reading the pattern, I, like, skipped a section, and so I'm looking at the pattern and the pictures, and I'm looking at mine,
Hmm.
and it's got, like, 3 different sections on it, and I'm like, "How come mine doesn't look the same?" And
Uh-huh.
it was because there was, like, 4 rows that I just completely skipped over in the pattern and skipped ahead on, and
Ooh.
so yeah, then I had to frog back 12 rows to get back to add those 4, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Ugh."
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
that did have to be done.
right. Now, was it one of those patterns that like has a paragraph written out for just to do like 5 stitches?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's easy doing something like that on those type of patterns.
Yeah,
And if
'cause
I
it
see a
feels like you've already read it,
yeah,
and
yeah, if I when I do work on patterns and if I see one that's like that, I'm like I'll look at something else because I'm like I can't. I need something that is going to be straight to the point and just very simplified because when it's over explained, my mind's like, do what? What? you know?
Yes.
Ooh. Mama Winch said that the pineapple shawl she's making for a customer, she had to frog back 8 rows for one tiny mistake.
Oh,
I hate when that happens.
yeah. I think the pineapple patterns are so pretty. I have not attempted one, um, because it does look kind of effort heavy.
Not really. I mean, it for the most part. I mean, the doily, dusty vest, whatever you want to call it at this point,
Yes.
that I'm working on, it deals with
Oh, that's a
pineapple.
pineapple.
So I mean, it's really not that bad. It's
Okay.
just you start off with like the center port bleh, portion of it. There's you got your double crochets, and then you've got however they do the edging to give it the
Okay.
you know um some people will do like 2 double crochets, chain one, 2 double crochets, and you work in that chain one. It just depends on however they're doing it, but the center portion of it is really not that bad. Once you do the double crochets, the next row it's a double crochet, chain one, and then you move into like a single crochet into the chain ones, chain two, or how many ever. It's really not that bad.
I've also had my eye on one of those, I think they call it like lost souls, where it's the
Mhm.
skulls, but I've been avoiding that for the same pineapple reason. I'm like, "Ooh, this looks like a lot of work." And maybe
Yeah,
it's really not once you get going like that, but
right. That's I started one sometime last either at the beginning of the year or sometime last year because I was going to make one for my sister. She loves skulls. And I was like, I know she would love that. I know she would wear it. And so I got the first square done, and then I started working going upwards. And I don't know if I was actually reading a pattern or if I was reading a graph,
Mm.
but if I was reading a graph, it was cut off. So I
Oh.
couldn't figure out exactly how to work it. And so I was like, I'm just going to give up.
Sometimes giving up is the correct course of action.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Leah says she has an apartment and it is too small to own a lot of large crafty machines. Yeah, I get that. It is definitely tough trying to balance a hobby and your actual life. I'm fortunate in the aspect, like my daughter's grown, so I have this extra bedroom here, but I do still try to keep it kind of in control.
Mhm.
But then I have like the filming equipment. So like I have a couple light stands and stuff. And it's like, okay, now I don't have room. Like, what do I do with these when somebody comes over and needs to stay here? I don't want filming equipment in their bedroom. That's creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's we use this whenever we have company come down. We use the craft room as a spare bedroom or guest
Mm-hmm.
room. And so I really needed something for wrong way, the drum carter back there.
Yep.
And so we were already at some point in time talking about making a Murphy table for me
Mm-hmm.
because I've also been wanting to get into a little bit more sewing. Um, but I was using the drum carter on my kitchen table, and as messy as they can get. And then
Mm-hmm.
our kitchen table is so low, so it was kind of hurting my back and just wasn't very enjoyable. So that's why we made the Murphy table, is for that, and it comes in handy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is a neat. I wonder if he'd ever consider like selling like a, well, you wouldn't call it a pattern, but like plans for it, like a diagram for it.
I've told him he needs to start doing that kind of stuff, but
Because
he's
I'm
hard
like,
headed.
I wouldn't, it would be a lot of work to sell actual tables and then if you got to ship them. But if he could do like a digital download for $10 and be
Right?
like,
Yeah.
I would force my husband to buy the pattern for $10 and build me one.
Well, maybe I can talk to him, and I mean, it's been a few months, but I'm pretty sure he will be able to figure it out or know exactly what he did. But
Exactly.
I might
I'm
have
like,
to talk
I
to
feel
him
like
about
it
that.
couldn't be that much different than writing a pattern, like, you know how to do that.
Not really. Pretty much all he would be doing. I mean, he does it. He draws everything out, make a blueprint before
Yeah,
he actually starts working on the project. So he's already got it. All he's got to do is professionalize it. So I don't. Maybe I'll talk to him. So
guys, it's getting, like, really loud, I do apologize if you can hear that, I'm like, I'm having to turn my volume up just to hear you, so
I do not hear anything at all.
okay, good, because like, they are really dive bombing close to my house.
Hi, Quilty Crafter.
Okay, VJ says he's like me and he just keeps going if there's a flaw too. Yeah, you really just gotta figure out if it's really important or not, and I think 9
Yeah.
times out of 10, if it's not affecting the pattern, and you're not selling it, meh.
And then sometimes even you can kind of manipulate it too.
Yes.
Um, I know, like the study of textures with the crochet crowd. That was
Mhm.
one of my very first blankets that I did, and I liked how Mikey did the tutorial because he stated if you messed up instead of frogging it, I'm going to show you how to fix that problem. And
Yep.
that's why I loved doing the study of textures because if that was to come, I don't have to frog the whole thing.
Mhm. And sometimes if you realize you've made a mistake, you can always add, like, in the next row or whatever. You could if you needed to, you could add an increase or a decrease and,
Right.
might not go noticed.
Hello, Velvet Plants. I think we have a lot of new people tuning in today that I haven't seen. I know
Excellent. Welcome.
I know I've seen Kim around, VJ, of course, Winch, Mama Winch.
My friend, has a hat that says "wench" because she loves going to, Renaissance fairs, but
Uh-huh.
she doesn't dress up, so she bought a ball cap and it says "wench," and it's awful cute, but I'm just like, I guess that's her, wanting to participate without participating,
Uh-huh.
where I'm like, I would like to wear a full Hobbit costume. Like, I don't care how embarrassing I am, I don't.
But you take care of Mama Winch. I hope you have a great day as well. Thank you for
Yes,
tuning
thank you
in.
so much for popping on.
She's I enjoy her. She's very, very raw and just her genuine self. And she's always got me cracking up. So I enjoy watching her when I can. So she said for years I was known as Mama Ink Winch. Yeah, because she's got tattoos.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like, you guys seriously can't hear that?
Now I can hear it now.
Okay.
But one time, that's the only time that I've been able to hear it.
Okay.
And for me, it's not that loud or bothersome.
This isn't like an all year thing. This is just like a very, very short time once a year,
Yeah.
but they're just super intense,
Mhm.
and I didn't realize they'd be doing it this morning.
What are they growing? Is it corn or?
Yep, pretty much in Iowa, they only grow corn, and it's
Mhm.
not like sweet corn, it's not corn you would eat. It's like corn for feed for animals, corn for ethanol fuel,
Mhm.
corn for corn syrup,
Yeah.
corn for alcohol. Um, yeah, um, like and corn for seed.
Yeah.
Sydney lives in moonshine territory, but I have a feeling that's probably sweet tea.
Yeah, it's raspberry flavored water, raspberry black tea.
But yeah, so they pretty much just only grow corn and soybeans here,
Mhm.
so
Yeah, here they mainly grow. They kind of rotate the years, but corn, cotton, of course,
mhm,
soybeans, and I think that's mainly what they grow here,
okay.
at least in our area. Jaden says, "Wait, you're in Iowa too? That's so cool."
Oh, yes. Yes, wait, I'm missing that. Am I too low or am I too high? I'm missing on the chat, I think. Yes. Message me Jaden, are you on Instagram? Message me on Instagram if you are. Because 'Cause I'm too, like, afraid of the internet to say where I live on the internet, so
Yeah, you never know. You never know who's watching, and then who's crazy and will
Yes.
stalk you.
Exactly.
Kim, I am in South Carolina. I'll give, like, when somebody asks me that else is in South Carolina, I'll be like, okay, I'm in, such and such county. But
Ah,
that's about as far as I'll, unless I can trust them. That's about as
yes. See,
so.
and that's the thing where I feel like unless you are in the Des Moines area, like like, our counties are so small here. There's only, like, in the county I live in, there's, like, 12,000 people. So, it's very, very small, and it's
Mhm.
very, like, um, how do I wanna say it? It would disclose a lot.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't. I know, like the town that we live in, there's in city limits, there's 3,000 people. But as far as county wise, I have no clue
Mhm.
because it is kind of one of the bigger counties that we are in.
Okay. Yeah, it's just weird. Like I had somebody one time and I was talking about I'm like, "Ugh, I hate going to Des Moines. I'm not going to go there for such and such." And then this YouTuber was like, "There's more in Des Moines than just uh Joanne, wink." And so then I'm like on Instagram and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." My Instagram is shannon.talks.yarn. Yeah, I'll type it, I guess.
Yeah, and so you might need to type that.
I just feel like Instagram is kind of weird because of the you can't have spaces. And so then it's like to either have underscores or like what all, it makes it more complicated to find people, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, there for the longest time, I could not stand getting on Instagram, and then with especially this past year, I've been posting a lot more on Instagram.
See, I Instagram for me was like a warm up. It was like a practice before starting YouTube. Like I felt like I really wanted to do YouTube, but I was hesitant and like I had never ever ever like taken a selfie or cuz I didn't grow up in like selfie era. And so it was like it was hard for me to like take a picture of myself wearing my thing. So, I needed like a practice and a warm up
Mhm.
before starting YouTube, and so I started out on Instagram doing that, and then, after I started YouTube, I've been terrible about posting on Instagram. Like, I would rather put my effort into YouTube than Instagram. So, like, I just always forget to take pictures and stuff like that. But I do love it for the communication aspect because in
Yeah.
YouTube, you can't private message anybody. Thank you, Jaden. I will check that out in a little bit. So it's just like, yeah, you don't have that same aspect. So I like it for the messaging, but yeah, I'm don't don't necessarily go to Instagram to find my latest work.
Right. Which speaking of that, have you seen the new update that YouTube is potentially going to at some point in time, if they haven't already, roll out about their kind of it's going to be almost kind of like Reddit,
Oh, yes, I think I
where
did see
yeah, I
something
was like,
about that.
that can open up a lot of opportunities and
Yes,
just being able to connect with
the
your
community.
your viewers in a different way. So I guess we'll
Yes.
see how that goes, whether it's a good impact or a negative impact. But
And
I'm
I
kind of
think for
excited.
the most part, YouTube is so big and like Google owns YouTube. And it's like, I think for the most part, when they make updates and changes, they're not doing it without a absolute ton of research and development. And so I know sometimes change can be scary or annoying, and you're like, oh, I got to learn something new. But I think for the most part, so much has gone into it. Like YouTube's not a new platform. If something new shows up, I think it's okay to be a little hesitant. Do they know what they're doing? Will this work? Whatever. But I feel like for the most part, it's safe when YouTube makes an update. Like it's probably going to benefit us as content creators. Like they're not going to throw something up that's going to be so frustrating or be so annoying that everyone leaves the platform.
I think too, like they'll do kind of like a trial run and see how it
Yeah,
works, and then if it doesn't work, then they'll switch it back.
scrap it. Yep.
Which I've seen where they've been talking for. I haven't tested it out, which I'm not on my laptop very often, anyways. But at the beginning of the year, I remember them talking about they were going to start doing like test thumbnails, where
Yeah.
you could have like three different thumbnails. Have you seen it anymore, or have you seen anything?
Yep, it is in the YouTube studio, like, if I go in on my laptop, it is an option there for me to add to where I can test them. I haven't done it yet.
Hmm.
I I'm kinda about my thumbnails, if I will oftentimes I will, if I don't like how the video is performing, or if sometimes, okay, let me go back. Sometimes I think I've nailed a thumbnail when in reality I have not, and it is in fact confusing to people.
Right.
Which happens, to a lot of us. But
Hmm.
sometimes I think, okay, this makes sense. And then I come back and look at it the next day or like Saturday morning, and I'm like, no, this is confusing. This isn't what I wanted it to be. I will make a new thumbnail, change what I
Hmm.
want, and switch it up. I
Hmm.
have also switched titles as well. And
Hmm.
so I know with the A/B thumbnail testing that it will switch it from view to view. So, like, if Sydney, you got on and you scrolled past my thumbnail, like you saw it and you were like, that's not interesting.
Hmm.
If and then you got off YouTube and came back an hour later and you were scrolling, it would show you my other thumbnail to see
Hmm.
if you clicked on that instead.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I can see where it would be beneficial for sure.
Hmm.
I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I was just wondering because, like I said, I don't get on my laptop very often, so I haven't had the chance to really, or not that I haven't had the chance, I just haven't looked at it to see if that's
Mhm.
rolled out or not. But I,
There is a feature that I would like them to finish, and they said they're gonna do it next year, and that is, possible thumbnails, or being able to do, like, a thumbnail for your shorts, because do you know how many shorts I have where my face is like this? Like, that is so annoying that it, like, cuts it there, and sometimes my daughter will be like, "Oh, they did you dirty," and I'm
yeah,
like, "Yeah, I know."
well, they do have it to where you can like not actually upload your own personal thumbnail like you can on a long video, but I know you have to do it before you actually upload it.
Oh.
Actually go in and change, what frame you want it to pop
Oh.
up. Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna look into that.
yeah.
Because
Because
like I said, I'm always like one eye's half closed, and I'm like, "Ah."
they know how to get like the worst possible shot ever.
Yes.
Ever.
If you're ever having a day you're feeling kinda confident with the way you look, just let YouTube Shorts
Yeah.
knock you down a few pegs.
But not even YouTube shorts. It's like long video thumbnails
Yeah.
too. It's like, good God. Um, that's that reminds me one that I think it was Erin from Crafting Kitties. She public or posted on her Facebook group, and it was just like some weird facial expression she had. She was like, "YouTube really knows how to pick out the thumbnails," and I'm sitting there just cracking up laughing because it was
Yep,
god awful.
yep. You're like, "Seriously, with how powerful these algorithms and AIs are, this is what you're doing to us?"
Exactly. At least get the good frame if you're going to pick out a frame.
Nope. Okay, I lost my chat was moving there. So it looks like Yarning for a Smile and Show and Tell Meg possibly have done the thumb. Okay, I gotta just read instead of skimming. Sorry.
No, you're good. Take care, quilty craft or crocheter.
Yeah, I will say, Jaden, if I'm understanding correctly, yeah, I do kind of think it's a good idea if you are wanting to be on Instagram to have like a separate, like personal real life account separate from your like business or social media account side. Just, I, if number one, like just for safety reasons, like you don't necessarily want, just people from all over the world seeing, like, if especially if you're liking, like, local accounts and stuff like that, or, like, your kid's school account or anything like that, for safety reasons, but just also I think it's nice to have that separate. I A lot of the people I know in real life are bored, would be super bored looking at all my crochet content, so I don't wanna have to subject them to that. So you are thinking that the testing has not really panned out very well?
It's Meg saying that. She says it takes up to like 2 weeks.
Wow, okay. Yeah, that by then, I feel like most of my videos have gotten played out by that point anyway,
Yeah,
so I don't think that'd be very helpful for
no,
me.
no. It's more for big,
Yeah,
big
yeah.
channels where,
Yeah, if you have, like, 500,000 subscribers, it might make a much bigger difference.
right. So I know you're probably reading,
Yeah,
but
sorry. Sorry, I was trying to
I'm
get caught
sitting.
back up. I apologize.
No, you're good. I'm sitting there just looking over my, well, not over by my shoulder, over here. I'm looking
Mhm.
over here. And I know the last time we were live together, you were talking about the poop lady
Yes.
and the earrings.
Oh my gosh, you did get 'em.
I
How
was
better.
only able to find one, but I was like, reminded myself this morning. I said I better go find those because
Get
I
those.
know Shannon and whoever else was in the chat
Yes.
would like get a kick out of it.
Oh my gosh,
But
yes.
yeah,
We were having so much fun with it. If you weren't on when we were talking about that, to summarize real quick, we had gotten on the subject of trolls, and a lady left me a bunch of poop emojis. She did not care for my content and suggested that my channel should be not Shannon Talks Yarn, but Shannon Talks Poop Emoji because that was more accurate. Oh, yep, yep. You know what? I have not had any more poop emojis left since then, so
I've been tempted to pop one every once in a while, but I
well,
was
and
like, I'm
and
not.
here's the thing, if I wanted to, I could put it in my, like, because you can go into, like, a banned words thing and add whatever you want, and so,
Mhm.
like, there are other emojis I have put in there that are, like, the naughty ones,
Yeah.
um but I didn't because I thought, maybe someone like, I have been tempted to say, like, "Oh, my project looks like," and so instead of saying that, I would put the poop emoji,
Mhm.
in reference to if I was displeased with my own project or something. So I'm like, "You know what? I'm not gonna put it in there. I'll still allow people to poop emoji."
Yeah, I've been tempted because I think there was one video you were talking about or was saying something and it uh, just rung a bell, and I was like, I should put a poop emoji, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna spam her and start that now.
Well, I would have thought it was funny, don't worry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people can be so mean.
it's tough, just because I don't know. I try to look at it as if their life must really not be going well if they are finding a random person on the internet that they've never seen before and just trashing them. Um, Bye, Joanne. Um, yeah, it's just I don't know. It's hard if somebody's just deliberately being mean to you and trashing you to be, like, compassionate and be like, "Why are"
Mhm.
Um, so, I don't know. I don't take a lot of stock in it. I generally just block somebody if they do that to me and don't really give it another thought. I had heard someone the other day where for them, it seemed like blocking someone was a big decision. And I was like, "Oh, that's not a problem for me." I'm just like, "Boop, boop, boop."
Mhm.
I mean, if you're
Right.
super negative and you're not here to help other people, and if you're putting people down in the comments for things they've said or their choices, nope. I don't even think about it. It's
Right. It's I read a quote the other day, or somebody talking about somebody who is doing less than you always has something to say about what you're doing
yes.
in a
I
negative
saw that
way.
too. Where did I see that? I read that too.
Maybe Facebook, maybe on TikTok a lot. So,
But
but
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, somebody who has been in your shoes in the
Mhm.
beginning stages and is, so called doing more than what you're doing, they're not going to speak negatively
No.
about, to you or about you or whatever. It's the people who are jealous and don't have
Yeah.
anything going for them that's going to, act in that way.
Yeah. I had a family member telling me, it was a couple family members, and the one was saying that she likes being on Instagram, but she doesn't like how the creator keeps using the same music over and over. And I said, well, the reason that creators do that is because there's trending sounds, and it makes the reel go further
Mhm.
because more people are listening to it. So more people are using it more times until something else becomes popular. And I thought I explained it in a nice, scientific way. And the
Mhm.
woman who said it was like, oh, that makes sense. And then her sister goes, well, I would send her a message and say, quit using this music. I'm tired of hearing this, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, you're one of those. So you've
Mhm.
never created anything, but you've got an opinion, and
Mhm.
you are telling people who spend a lot of time and an effort how to run things. It's like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I just love those people who tell you what you can and cannot post on your own page. I've had family members do that to me, and I'm like, it's my Facebook page. I can do what I want. I can post what I want. Anything that I post is not that bad.
Yeah.
If you're offended by it, that's your problem, not mine.
Hmm.
But don't tell me what I can and what I cannot post because you're offended. Go cry you a river, build your bridge, and get over it. Ugh. So
Jaden
I ended
says
up blocking them and deleting them off of my Facebook.
it's the way to go. Yeah, Jaden has no problem blocking people either. Yeah, that's the thing. And I just don't think yeah, it's like, to me it's not worth defending myself, because I'm like, who says that this person is even ever going to come back and look at the comment? Like, they're probably off trashing somebody else already by now, and it literally meant nothing to them.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I agree. Just block. There's no point in it.
All you're doing at that point, if you sit there and feed into what they're wanting you to do, you're giving them what they want,
Yeah.
but also destroying your mentality at the same time too. All you're doing is working yourself up. I had to work on that for a long time, a long time.
So, okay, yeah, yarning for a smile. I'm trying to find the comment, it bounced there. So you are hesitant to block. Well, and I agree. Like, I will definitely like try to reread a comment multiple times, and I will also um like, I will also consider, like, am I reading it wrong? Am I being overly sensitive about
Yeah.
something? Or and um is it someone that is concerned and has been someone who has commented a lot of stuff in the past, and we've built a relationship? Yeah, definitely I take a lot of things in comparison, but, like, I will say I had a video that went, like, viral for me, like, not real viral, but, like, viral for me, and it got, like, 40,000 views. And in the video, I was talking about Joanne's bankruptcy, and
Mhm.
what I said, there was a short video, like 7 minutes, and what I had said in the video was that it seemed to me that Hobby Lobby has done a good job of identifying who their target market is and purchasing merchandise that their target market wants to buy. Where I said Joann's, it seems like they have gone a lot more progressive in some different views. And it seems to me, based on the fact of how much merchandise is left over and going for 90% off in my store, that they have not done a good job of knowing who their target customers are and who is shopping there.
Mhm.
It was not a political statement. I was not saying one viewpoint is good and one viewpoint is bad. I was looking at it from a marketing standpoint of your company's gonna do better if you are providing the merchandise they wanna buy, and if you're
Mhm.
providing merchandise that they don't wanna buy, but you want them to buy,
Mhm.
it's not gonna go as well, and the proof is in the store when stuff goes 90% off.
Right.
And that started a crap storm on my channel, and, I think that's one of the reasons it kinda went viral is because so many people were commenting, but I deleted so many comments because people were fighting. Because all of a sudden, people turned it into a Joanne versus Hobby Lobby, um, argument, and some of the things they were saying were based in reality, and a lot was based on rumor and speculation and
Mhm.
certain talking points that people hear without really investigating it for themselves.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into all that right now, but we all kinda know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
So, it went awful, and it became a place where I didn't feel like it was helpful for people in my comments that were just genuinely good people, and I felt like it attracted so many people just looking for a fight, and so many people, who really weren't there for the yarn content. They were there to say people should not shop at such and such and store because they're such and such a way. And so I that was when I really just went hardcore, with the blocking. So, because they weren't ever people that were gonna come back, you
Mhm.
know?
So were they trying to make it like a political thing when you said,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's not like, I try to be pretty careful about what I say in videos anyway, but it I think sometimes people can get real fired up with their, beliefs, which I get. It's easy to be
mhm,
that way, no matter what side you're on, but I think there was people who were not understanding I was talking about marketing and about purchasing for who shops at your store, and
versus
they were just, like, instantly like, "Bam, this is bad, this is good, this is the only way it is, and if you shop at this place, you hate these people," and it was like, "Whoa!"
yeah.
So, I don't know, that was just it was stressful for me, and when you're at a point where you're, like, wishing people would stop watching a video even though it's, like, getting amazing views, and I was
At
like,
that point, yeah,
like, you
at that
kinda
point,
want it to start dying, like,
yeah,
that's not a good sign.
that or just turn the comments off.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it did end up fizzling out, but like I said, I went through and purged everything that was just not helpful and didn't add anything.
Mhm. Yeah. People are crazy. Now, I was reading something earlier. I can't remember who said it.
Sorry, I talked for a long time, and then the chat got awesome, and I missed a whole bunch of it.
No, it's
Sorry.
okay. If I look at a screen for too long, my eyes start to go cross-eyed, and then like my hearing goes out the window. So I'm trying to listen to you, but my eyes are also trying to watch what you're saying too, or watch you, not watch what you're saying. But yeah, you know what I mean. I'm
Mhm.
I'm guessing you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do, I do. Christine, congratulations on just starting crochet. That is awesome.
Woohoo! Now don't get addicted to yarn like we all do.
Yeah, so, Megan, that's the thing, like, obviously, like, say, so her comment is about the International Women's Day fabric. We can all agree women are awesome, women need rights, women need equal rights, go women, but, like, my Joanne has a lot of fabric that was, like, STEM, so, like, what is it, like, science, technology, whatever, whatever,
Yeah.
it's in, like, women in STEM.
Hmm.
Okay, that's great. Like, if any girl or woman wants to go into that field, I definitely think they should. I would never say a woman shouldn't. If she loves math, go into a math career. But is it possible that women who are really into STEM aren't going to Joann and buying fabric that says STEM on it? Like, like, maybe if they're really into STEM, they're not super crafty. Not that they can't be,
Hmm.
but it is plausible to think that the people who are really into STEM aren't going to Joann to buy fabric, and then that fabric all goes on clearance for like $1.80 a yard,
Hmm.
and just sits there. So it's just one of those where, yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea, but if your customer base isn't buying it, and if the people that would buy it don't shop at your store, like, your that store's gonna lose money. I
Right.
think it's that simple.
Oop, my chat is jumping. Urine acquisitions and its own. Yeah, that is its own hobby. Oddballs. Yarn addiction is the best. I've thought about this, and because, okay, I've had, you know, three extra kids in the house, while I was on my little break. My sister's kids came, I took them for about 2 weeks. Well, one of them has a phone. And me and my mom, we've talked about it numerous times about this newer generation and the phones and technology and just being addictive. And I've kind of, um, while I was in college, I like studying about the brain and how the brain
Mhm.
works and psychology and all that kind of stuff. And I've thought about almost going back to like yarn addictions, why
Oh,
we
yeah.
have like a yarn addiction, the
Mhm.
psychological reason before behind it. I'm a little hesitant about doing it, but I feel like that would be kind of a good topic.
I think you should. I honestly feel like some of my best videos, like, not I don't necessarily mean like views or, anything like that, but the videos I'm the most satisfied with and that I feel like I have had the best engagement with, where I feel like I've connected with people the most, have been those ones where it's like a little bit, like, it's still yarn related,
Mhm.
but it's just a little bit off of the normal yarn topic, and I
Mhm.
have found that I think people wanna talk about those issues that, are real and that they do kinda struggle with, and to see, like, you're not alone, like,
Mhm.
we can all be so.
Right. That's I was telling my husband last night because the I like doing the tutorials. They're a good lean to when I just need to publish a video or
Yep.
whatever. But I told my husband, I said sometimes they just get so exhausting and just
Yeah.
boring. And so I told him that I wanted to start doing like new topics, kind of like not necessarily what you're doing, but
Mhm.
I gave you example of, the things that you talk about. They're so relatable and it's such to me, I feel like you're a natural at just a lot of these topics. And I was just telling him how much, I appreciate you as being a content creator and the content that you publish because
Well,
in a
thank
way I
you.
kind of look up to you
Oh,
because your channel does so great to me. And yeah, so yeah, you inspire me probably a lot more than you think you do.
you're, like, gonna make me cry because 'cause I'm an emotional person anyway.
Don't make me cry.
I don't know, it just like I said, I don't know a ton of people in real life that crochet or are interested in this, and I have been so overwhelmed with the amount of people that feel the same way I do, but I have to find them all over the world,
Yeah.
and reach out, and I do think that sometimes it can be very, uh, what do I wanna say, like, nervous for me? That's not the right word, but I'll get very anxious if I
Yeah.
do a video where I'm like, "Ooh, I'm kinda putting myself out there a little bit more," and feel that, like, vulnerable feeling,
Hmm.
um, but again, like I said, I feel like those have been the ones where people have really come out and been like, "Y we get each other."
Right. Yeah, that's kind of like why the whole psychological reasoning behind yarn addiction. So that's
Mhm.
why I'm kind of hesitant because I don't want to speak on something that I'm not a professional at, and just being very, very vulnerable and
Yeah.
not trying to, relate to my audience, but also not look like an idiot at the same time.
Well,
So
there trust me, every video I put up, I'm like, "I might look like an idiot in this." That's I'm not gonna lie, that's a thing.
yeah.
But it's the thing where I think that it's okay, and you don't have to be an expert. You can, if you're coming from a place where you're like, "Yeah, this is what I'm experiencing," and I do think that, like, yarn addiction can be a touchy subject in our field because we do love yarn,
Hmm.
and buying yarn can be a very healthy activity, but if you are putting your family's finances at risk or things like that, then it has crossed over into not a healthy
Right.
hobby. And how do we identify this, or do we know why we're doing it, or things like
Mhm.
that? And then you have the aspect where, kind of going back to the trolls, some people are just kind of mean, and they'll tell you you have an addiction when you really don't, and they don't understand. So I think there is so many things you could touch on in
Right.
that aspect, and I would watch them for sure.
And, too, some people might take being a yarn addict as a being offensive. Because I
Yes.
know there are some people who, I'm not a yarn addict. I'm a, whatever fiber enthusiast or yarn enthusiast,
Yes.
whatever you want to call it. So it's just one of those topics I want to do it, but it's also, like you said, kind of
It's
touchy feely.
scary. Yeah,
Yeah.
because 'cause you're like, "Are people gonna, like, rip my head off on this one?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
And then I'm going to start ripping my head off. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I would say go for it and just
Mhm.
see what happens, and if you talk, from your heart, and, you can say, I'm not a clinical psychologist, but I've done this research because I've been feeling this way," and I think that's really enough for people to realize, like, yeah.
Right. I don't see myself as a yarn addict. I feel myself as like the complete opposite because I like barely even spend money on yarn. Barely.
And you also come from the perspective of you can literally, like, make yarn from start to finish.
Yeah. Yeah. Oop, chat is jumping again. I know
Good, good.
Kim's been commenting quite a bit. Let's see.
Yeah, I have done a yarn de-stash too, just because I thought, "You know what? There's no point in these ones I'm never gonna use," and if I could give them to somebody that would use them, I felt a lot better mentally about not having them there, so I could make room for yarns I do love. Yeah, so Yarn Desert, I 100% understand that, and I don't have the shipping issues that I know you guys have in Canada, and I believe, like, your dollar also costs more than the US dollar, so it would be more expensive, um, and that's one of the reasons why I get a little more defensive when people criticize stores, because I'm like, if I have my 4 stores I have access to would be Joann, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, and Dollar Tree. Those are the 4 stores I can physically go to with yarn in them. So it's like I just don't have the options that some people have, and I don't think we should criticize people if that's what they have.
Sorry, I'm reading.
I love the idea, Leah, of souvenir yarn shopping. Um, I am not in a stage of life where I can really get out and travel much, unfortunately, but I knew someone who was going to Alaska, and I asked her to pick me up, like, some native, like native sounds weird. I don't mean, like, Native Americans. I mean, like, yarn that was from an animal that was native to Alaska and, like, spun up there, something that you couldn't get here. So I got a super cool skein of yarn that's Alaskan, and then, my cousin had gone on a trip to oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a hard time remembering where it was. It was an island. I swear it's near Finland. It'll come to me later. That's bothering me. I could dig out the yarn and figure it out, but, anyway, it was super cool yarn.
Now
I'm
you
gonna
got me thinking.
I'm gonna I'm gonna have to look it up. Will you carry the conversation for a minute, Sid?
Yeah, what you were talking about. Okay,
Yeah, I gotta
so
I gotta fi oh, sorry.
so Oddball said Walmart is the only store near me that has yarn. The next closest is Michael's, but it's an hour and a half away. That's a problem that we have here too, and Shannon does as well. Um, the closest Walmart obviously sells yarn, so that's about 20 minutes away from us. But Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, all of that is about an hour, depending on where we go, an hour, hour and a half. So we don't have good options here. We're such in a rural area for buying yarn. So if
Mhm.
get something at Walmart or whenever we do go to the city, if that's what you even want to call it, then I have to take advantage then and
Yes.
grab yarn. Because,
Okay. So I figured out where my yarn came from. It was the Faroe Islands. So
okay.
yeah, so I'm gonna do, like, a quick plug for my cousin. She makes robots.
Mhm.
So like not like walking, talking robots, but they're art, but she's got this Instagram page called Leebots right here,
Mhm.
and so, yeah, she makes, like, all of these little robots. That's just
Mhm.
one right there, um, but yeah, so here's a little robot wearing a little tiny sweater that she got in the Faroe Islands,
Uh-huh.
um, and they're just like little sculptures and stuff, but yeah, she was in the Faroe Islands, and I got, like, a random message and was like, how much yarn do you need to make a hat?" And I was like, "Oh, at least 200 yards." But
So
yeah,
she,
so, like, what are like, I'm probably never gonna get to the Faroe Islands, so I'm like, "Yes, I would love some souvenir yarn from
it's
there."
it's pretty cool. That's it. Was
Mhm.
it wool or what
Yep.
exactly?
Yeah,
Wool.
it's, like, all wool, like, straight up 100%. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I would kinda like to get her to do a live with me and just talk about, like, the yarn shops over there and just what she experienced,
That would
so
be awesome.
mhm.
Cool. Especially like that yarn that you got. Did she buy it from like an actual yarn store or did she
Yes.
like a local yarn store?
Yep, so they
Okay.
had, like, I believe pretty much all of the yarn in the store was from the Faroe Islands, so, like, all from sheep that were there, and yeah,
That's
it looked
awesome.
pretty neat.
That's
I didn't
awesome.
ask her how much it cost, and she didn't tell
Yeah,
me, so
that is awesome. I'm
yes.
curious because I've done a little bit of breed study, but I'm just trying to think. And Kim, I think Kim also spends. She might know possibly what sheep come from the Faroe Islands, but
Okay.
I think there is a sheep. I don't know. So
Like
I'm
maybe
just curious.
native to.
Yeah, I'm just curious of what kind of wool it was.
Oh, VJ is saying that yarn is relatively cheap in South Africa. That's awesome.
Must be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that is awesome. Because I know, like, I was talking about Litza earlier, and the Australian yarn prices are out of control.
Really?
Like, and I know a lot of it has to do with, like, our dollar conversions and everything, but the same, like, cake of yarn was like $30 there that it is like an $11 cake of yarn here. Ugh.
They go through. Are they? Is Australia euros? Is it euros?
I think they have their own Australian dollar. Mhm.
Good grief, that's
Yeah.
pretty pricey. I
Yeah.
could only I could only imagine like euros, what their transfers into US dollars, or I guess it
Mhm.
would be $30 US.
Yeah. Well, no, like, like, she had a cake of yarn, and it was, I think it's just like a Yarnspirations cake. It wasn't anything, like, crazy, it was just acrylic, and it was, like, 30 Australian dollars. Like, the same thing you could get at Joann's for 11 US dollars.
So I'm curious of how that translates to US
Oh,
dollars.
like, how many US
Yeah,
dollars it would be,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
know.
It's because like euros, I think I could be wrong, and if we have, I think we do have somebody in the UK, or not in the UK,
Yep,
Europe.
Leah. Yep, Leah is
She
in the
might
U
be
you're not
able
in the UK, but she would,
be able to
have
transfer.
euros. Yep,
Because I think
European Union.
I think from like dollar to euros, it's like a dollar. The difference is like a dollar and like so many cents.
Mhm.
So they're almost hand in hand, but there is still a difference.
Yeah, I think theirs is a little bit stronger than ours, so
Now, I know in Mexico, things are really, really cheap there. And when my husband worked at the cotton gin, they took in a lot of Mexicans, and they would come in and work with my husband or at the gin for winter months,
okay.
because they would go back to Mexico, and what they were making at the gin was like triple the amount in Mexico. So
Oh,
they were
yeah, so
making
it was
bank.
worth it. It was
Yeah,
worth it for them to leave home for a few months and
yeah, not to mention the gin, they housed them. They had to get their own food, but I mean, they housed them and they even transported them. So, I mean, yeah, they were making bank of whatever
yeah.
they were making here.
Yeah, it'd be worth it.
Yeah. My husband was like, "You want to go move to Mexico?" And I'm like, "Nope, nope, I'm good. I'm good." I'm a, yeah, I'm a shawl addict too, Kim. I love shawls. I love designing them. I love making them, especially in lighter weight. Um, I need to make a shawl as well, so I can make it without.
Yeah, so there is a link to Sydney's. Okay, no, I'm reading that wrong. Never mind, I'm gonna back it up.
Yes. Yes. See what it is. Everyone's Ravelry hands. We can be friends.
Yeah, go feel free, type your Ravelry handles in there. I
Mm-hmm.
started an account and I have one, but I'm just never on there. I should really I should really explore it.
Other than releasing a pattern, that's the only time I'm on there. And
Mm,
occasionally I will get a email notification saying that, hey, someone commented on your
Mm,
pattern or has messaged you to have a question or whatever. But that's really the only time that I'm on Ravelry, is if I'm publishing a pattern or answering a question or whatever. But other than that, it, Ravelry in a way just kind of, there's so much on there, and it
yeah.
kind of confuses me at the same sense too. It's like a Reddit.
Yes,
It there's
100%.
Reddit. I tried doing Reddit, and I was like, I don't get the point of this. I don't understand it. So I ended up deleting my account and said, screw it.
Yeah, I had started that too, and then, um, sometimes, like, if I have just anything in life, like, not a yarn question, but, like,
Mhm.
sometimes if I have a question, I'll go to Google, type in the question, and then write Reddit after it, and then you'll see, like,
Yeah.
other people's conversations about it,
Mhm.
but I still don't really even know what I'm doing. I only do that because my daughter said to do it, so
It's like Twitter too. I've never been a fan of Twitter, and
no.
never really, I mean, I kind of grasp the concept of Twitter, but I've never been interested in making one or getting on
No.
there at all.
My husband is on Twitter, like, he doesn't tweet, but he just, like, looks at it all the time, and I'm like, to me, I feel like it's, like, just a whole bunch of political stuff and a bunch of people yelling at each other, and I'm like, "No,
Mhm.
thanks, that's ugh, that's everything
Right.
I'm avoiding." Like, I pretty much quit watching the news a few years ago, and I'm just like, if I need to know something and I can't figure it out from a meme, then I'll ask somebody else, but I'm not watching it myself.
Yep, we don't watch the news. If there's
Mm-mm.
anything that I need to know, hey mom, what's going on? Do I
Yeah.
need to, because she watches podcasts, she watches news. Like, I'm like, you're literally driving yourself nuts.
And
Have
that's the thing. I felt like, being angry about any, like, government or political thing, it doesn't actually change what's being done in the world. It just increases your own anxiety and everything, and I'm like, "I
Mhm.
can't do that." So,
Right, right. I get the whole. Okay. I don't even want to get on that conversation, especially being here. So, I was
not a
just,
problem.
yeah. I try to. I don't like talking about political things with other
Mhm.
people than who I actually know,
Yeah.
because it could, some people just take it way out of
Yeah.
hands, and
Well,
so I just.
it used to be, like, you could have your political things, and it was, like, separate. You still and it's kinda weird how it's morphed into a thing where it has encompassed, like, I have to say, like, there's been so many Instagram accounts I've stopped following, like, crochet Instagram accounts that I liked what they crochet, but then they would put political things in, and I'd be like, "I am coming here to relax and to enjoy crochet and yarn, and I don't want to be bothered with politics." And so I'm not angry, but I just unfollow, and I'm like, nope, there's just for me, I'm keeping this my happy space.
Right. Yeah. If I wanted to watch that stuff, then I would go look it up. That's how I
Mhm.
kind of feel too when it comes to political things like that.
Yep. Yeah, my husband also follows the sports ball, and which I have no interest in any sport ball, I could care less, and then he also follows, like, gamer things, like, one thing I totally because I understand he doesn't get my love of crochet, but,
Mhm.
like, he will watch YouTube videos of other people playing video games, and I know a lot of guys and women too do that, but that is not my thing at all.
I used to do it when I was like, when I first had my laptop and knew when YouTube first came out. I would sit there because I mean, I didn't know what else to watch, but I got out of that phase. But no.
Yeah, for some well, and I know for him, like, he definitely has some undiagnosed ADHD, and,
Mhm.
like, he's got, like, a ton of paperwork he's gotta go through at work, and so, for him, he can't just, like, sit and do the work. He will have on his laptop going somebody playing a video game, and he'll have one earbud in and, like, listening to the gameplay while he's doing his paperwork, and that's how he can focus, but If it works for him, great. That's not how I operate.
I'd be like a chicken with its head cut off trying
Well,
to
I'm
what?
like, "What?" To me, I don't enjoy playing video games, so the idea of watching someone play a video game, it just seems like torture to me.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I'm not a game person either.
Mm-mm. But apparently everyone here in the chat is also not a news person, so I would watch gameplay before I'd watch the news, I guess. It's a
I don't
close
know.
tie.
Like, I feel like if it's something really, really important, then I'll watch the news. But the only news that I'm watching is the Weather Channel. If you even consider that news. Mm.
Yeah, so, that would kinda be me in the yarn videos for sure, yeah. Like, when you just have one playing in the background, I guess we are all doing the same thing.
Kim was, well, she was saying that she was playing Fortnite earlier, so she was saying, I love video games, but do not consume that type of content, which she probably plays, I don't know, with her kids too. I know
Oh,
she
okay.
schools her kids. Which that's a hard job,
Yeah.
homeschooling, because
I
and she's
can
got three
I
kids.
I think it's something where so we've discussed this before, but if anybody doesn't know this, like my daughter is Sydney's age. So, like, had I have had access to like what they have access to now, I feel like I would have been far more drawn into homeschooling. But I feel like at least here, the resources that I was exposed to, it just wasn't as accessible to get your kids a good homeschool education back in the day
Mhm.
as it is now. So, yeah, I definitely
Yeah,
would have been interested in that back then.
yeah. I've my mom. She's constantly asking because next year my daughter will go in kindergarten, and she's constantly asking, "Have you thought about homeschooling? Have you thought about homeschooling? Have you thought about homeschooling?" And I'm like, I want to, but I also want her to kind of have like a social life outside of just me and her dad. Which I mean, she does great. She does wonderful with other kids, but it's also you need to kind of get, you know,
And I
separated
think it
a
kind of
bit.
depends too, like what kind of area you live in, where if you have a lot of other homeschooling parents where you can co-op and,
Mhm.
they can do different activities and sports and music stuff, and you have access to other
Mhm.
people where and when she was young, when my daughter was younger, I mean, we did live in some cities where that could have been more possible, but like where I live now, like it'd just be the three of us hanging out together.
Right. Which, which I'm a little bit more leaning on to wanting to homeschool her because I've talked with a few people who have been teachers in the school system now. Um, and they just said it's horrible. And
Mhm,
so I just feel like what we can teach her at home would be a little bit better and kind of know her needs. But
mhm.
it's also, do I want to take that up as well?
Yeah.
Because that
I
can,
think
I mean,
I think one of the things I noticed here with school is, when the schools got shut down for that one thing a couple years ago,
mhm,
um, they did a lot of online learning, and pretty much the kids were only doing schoolwork for like 2 to 3 hours a day, and so to me, that would be my big hang up where I'd be like, if schoolwork can get done in that time, there's no reason for them to be there for 8 hours.
yeah.
But I was a person who hated school, so that's some of it for me.
And that's what I was kind of telling my mom too. I said, especially a child of my daughter's age, their attention span is like nothing.
Mhm,
And I told her, I said, I feel like it's kind of ridiculous that they're in school for, 6, 8 hours. What could
mhm.
they be possibly learn? They're not, I mean,
They're not
unless you
learning
have,
during the
yeah, unless you have like a teacher that's really going to engage with them,
mhm,
what are they going to really be learning or tuning into? So, and she was saying, well, yeah, you could, from what she was reading, especially more in like high school, you could homeschool and do it within like 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have a little bit more chance of working around whatever schedule you do have.
Yep,
So
and then I think also, like, adding in, like, things that you want your kids to know and that, your kids actually really love.
mhm.
Yeah, so, I'm 48, so thought I'd get that out there. Close to 50. Ugh.
Kim said, I want my kids to learn, and here they push them to memorizing. Exactly. That's what I remember when I was in high school. It wasn't about actually teaching, it was just more of a, here's busy work, memorize it, and then we're going to have a test next week. It was no engagement, it was nothing, you weren't
Mhm.
actually learning, and I hated that because I was more of a person that I'm a visual learner, so I need you to either guide me or, make something fun out of it or whatever. So,
Yeah, I was the, like, undiagnosed ADHD kid in the '80s who was a girl, so then that was, like, another aspect, and,
mhm,
I had, like I always had, like, 25 assignments that weren't turned in and couldn't sit there and focus and was, like I always got in trouble for chatting with my neighbors at the
uh-huh,
desk, chatting with the teacher, and I don't know, I just if it's just amazing what has changed in this time.
mhm. Nope, I was the kid that, okay, I didn't mind goofing off outside of the classroom, but when we're in the classroom, please be quiet, be respectful. If not, I'm going to tell you about yourself and make you be quiet. Yeah, there was one time I was in sophomore. Sophomore, I'm gonna probably have to get off here soon because my phone's about dead. But I was in sophomore year, and there was a bunch of kids in the back just chatting it up. It was a math class. I was already horrible in math, and they're just sitting there yapping away. The teacher's done told them to be quiet. I don't know how many times. So I got up. I said, "Do you guys not have any freaking respect? Well, you guys, that's putting it in nicer terms. I got a little bit more nastier than that, but it was just like, dude, come on."
Yeah.
And like I said, I didn't care if you wanted to goof off outside of the classroom, but I came here to learn. I'm sorry if you didn't, but that's not my problem. Be respectful.
I would say my college experience was a lot different because I was 28 when I went to college,
Mhm.
and, yeah, I had at that point realized I had to have an entirely different strategy, and so, at that point, I had to, like, sit in the front and take my notes and then go home and immediately do my homework in order to be able to actually understand what I was doing. Yeah, and that's awesome, Christine, that you have been able to, like, alter your, curriculum and actually make it, worthwhile and worth his time and actually benefit him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's to me, that's, like, the exact reason homeschooling can be so amazing.
Kim said she loved the smell of supplies.
No, I know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
like, to open up a notebook.
Notebooks. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
I
But it
love
was,
I loved shopping for school supplies, like, getting all the supplies and then lining them all up and looking at them. But then I hated school, but I
yeah.
loved school supply shopping.
You like the organization.
Yeah, I just wanna see all the products and touch them and smell them. But, yeah, I don't wanna actually go to school. Ugh.
Mine was, I knew I was about to get new clothes, so.
It's funny.
My mom used to work at J.C. Penney's, so when school time came around, at that when she worked at J.C. Penney's, we also lived in Tennessee, so they have no sale tax. And
Oh,
then she would also hit the annual sale, plus she had her discount. So we were buying like $1,000 worth of clothes for like probably like quarter of the price. So
That
yeah,
is
it was like,
awesome.
yeah. So I was like, all right, I can get done with this, mom.
That's the reason you wanted school to start.
Yep, yep. Sorry, mom.
Oh, that's
Truth
funny.
comes out now.
See you, Sandy. Well, yeah, we are hitting the close to the 2-hour mark here. So I had so much fun, Sydney,
Yes,
and
I did too.
um, I did have I'm sure everybody saw the ticker going the whole time there. So next month we will be on Sydney's channel. So definitely make sure you're subscribed and have your notification on so you see when she posts that. But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody being on here and thank you all for your time. Thank you,
Yes.
Sydney.
Thank you, Shannon, and thank you all again for tuning in today. It was great, and we enjoy doing these lives with you guys.
Yes, thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.